The red targeting dot slid across Maya Bennett's chest and settled over Han Taemin's heart. He was slumped against the concrete pillar behind her, one hand pressed to his side, his torn black suit dark with oil and blood. A voice drifted from the ceiling speakers, calm enough to be cruel. "Target Han is still breathing. The mechanic should not be standing." Above them, dozens of footsteps began moving at once. Maya did not turn, she only listened, counting each pair. Taemin's gaze dropped to the steel wrench gleaming near Maya's boots. "Aren't you going to use that?" Maya watched the shadows along the upper ramp. "Tonight, the wrench is decorative." She nudged it beneath the sedan with the side of her boot. The red dot followed the movement, proving her suspicion. Someone wanted her to reach into the open. Instead, she placed her grease-streaked hand on the garage control panel. Every remaining light snapped off except one gold lamp above them. The main vehicle door groaned upward behind Maya. Cold dawn air crawled beneath it, pushing pale smoke across the floor. Taemin tried to rise, but pain drove him back against the pillar. Through the widening strip of light, a pair of black boots stopped beyond the threshold. Maya's face changed for the first time. Not fear, recognition. Before the person stepped inside, the story returned to 6 hours earlier, when Maya was beneath an armored sedan, arguing with a man who believed confidence counted as mechanical training. At 11:50 that night, Maya lay beneath the sedan with a work lamp balanced beside her shoulder. The brake line had not split from age or pressure. A narrow tool had sliced it cleanly, then left a dusting of silver residue around the cut. She touched none of it. Above her, Jason Reed asked whether she planned to finish before sunrise. Maya stared at the deliberate damage and answered, "That depends. Did the car arrive broken or did your personality do the final damage?" Nathan Brooks coughed to hide a laugh. Maya rolled out from beneath the sedan and held up her inspection report. Jason barely glanced at it. He told Nathan to find a male mechanic, took the report from Maya's hand, and signed his own name beneath her findings. Then he announced that the delay would be deducted from her wages. Maya looked at his expensive tie, then at the stolen report. Nothing repairs a brake line faster than confidence and a necktie. Jason walked away without noticing that Maya had already photographed the silver residue. Nathan crouched beside Maya after Jason left. She enlarged the photograph on her phone until the residue filled the screen. The silver dust was not common workshop debris. It came from a cutting compound used by Marcus Vale's private security unit, the same unit connected to the operation that had erased Maya's former team. Nathan's face tightened for half a second before he hid it. Maya noticed. She also noticed he did not ask who Marcus Vale was. The sound of approaching engines rolled down the ramp before Maya could question him. 3 black vehicles entered in disciplined formation, and Han Taemin stepped out of the center sedan as though the garage already belonged to him. Daniel Choi moved at his shoulder, scanning every corner. Taemin stopped beside the raised vehicle and looked from the severed brake line to Maya. "You ignored an instruction." Maya wiped her hands. "It was a bad instruction." Taemin asked whether she understood whose car she had touched. Maya glanced at the damaged sedan. "A badly maintained one." Daniel's mouth almost moved, but discipline caught the smile before it formed. Taemin did not smile at all. He studied Maya's face, then followed her gaze toward the vehicle rows. She was no longer looking at him. Beneath the nearest bumper, a small black device blinked once and disappeared into shadow. Maya dropped to one knee and reached beneath the bumper. She removed the device with 2 fingers, turned it over, and found a matching unit beneath the next car. Then another. Every vehicle that had entered during the previous hour carried one. The trackers were not following destinations. They were measuring doors, lifts, workers, response times, and blind spots. When Maya checked her own car, the same device was fixed beneath it. This trap had begun before Taemin arrived. Before Maya could explain, she looked toward the sealed upper ramp and understood that whoever planted the devices already knew the garage better than anyone inside it. Before the next move lands, subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV. It tells us these cinematic stories are worth the work, and it helps us keep bringing you love, danger, betrayal, and impossible choices. Maya rose slowly, still holding the tracker. "Nobody leaves," she said. "They are already outside." The lights died before anyone answered. Steel shutters crashed across the exits. One young worker sprinted toward the side door and threw himself backward as the metal slammed down inches from his hands. Every phone lost its signal. The ventilation fans wound to a stop, leaving the garage suddenly hot and breathless. A calm voice entered through the speakers. Han Taemin had 7 minutes to surrender before the building began sealing one section at a time. Maya struck the internal lockdown control. A second set of barriers dropped between the upper ramp and the service floor, cutting off the first wave before they could descend. Daniel saw only Maya's hand on the controls. He seized her wrist. She turned with him, redirected his momentum, and planted him against the sedan without striking him. His surprise lasted longer than the movement. Taemin's eyes narrowed. Mechanics did not handle trained security officers like misplaced furniture. Maya took Daniel's access card and pointed at Taemin's wrist. "Remove the watch." Taemin did not move. "Now." Something in her voice made him obey. She opened the watch casing with a thin workshop pick and lifted out a second transmitter no larger than a fingernail. Daniel looked at Jason. Jason looked genuinely shocked. Maya placed the transmitter beside the vehicle tracker. "Your car was bait. Your watch was the invitation, and someone inside your circle mailed it." Metal struck metal above them. 3 men forced their way through a half-closed ramp barrier. Maya hit the remote ignition panel. Headlights exploded across the darkness. Car alarms screamed. 2 airbags burst from parked vehicles as the attackers squeezed between open doors, knocking them off balance while an automatic partition trapped the third. A voice on the intercom promised Maya a painful death. She pressed the speaker button. 30 men, matching jackets and no appointment. Very unprofessional. A secure internal gate opened behind Taemin. Nobody outside should have possessed the code. One attacker came through fast enough to reach him before Daniel turned. Taemin blocked the first strike, but the second drove him into the side of the sedan. Maya activated the nearest hydraulic lift, forcing a steel platform between them, then dragged Taemin behind the central pillar. He accused her of arranging the ambush. Maya pressed cloth to his wound. "If I wanted you dead, I would have repaired the brakes." Maya listened to the footsteps crossing the upper level and counted the bursts of radio static moving through the building. Taemin said intelligence had identified 32 attackers. 39, Maya corrected. 7 had been inside before his convoy arrived. Daniel slowly turned toward Jason. A dark red stain marked Jason's right cuff, fresh enough to shine beneath the work light. Jason had not been injured. Somewhere nearby, someone else had been. A voice broke through the garage speakers before anyone touched Jason. "Blackbird." Maya went completely still. The name had not been spoken aloud in 3 years. Taemin noticed the change in her breathing, the way her shoulders locked, and the fraction of a second she needed before answering. "Wrong mechanic." The voice laughed. "Still hiding under engines, Maya?" Every head turned toward her. Maya ignored the stares and ordered Nathan to move the nightworkers into the reinforced parts cage. Nathan obeyed without asking why, which unsettled Taemin almost as much as Maya's codename. Daniel kept Jason within reach while the workers crossed the floor in pairs. Somewhere beyond the shutter, metal scraped against concrete. The attackers were cutting through the upper barrier, and they were doing it slowly enough to make everyone listen. Inside the parts cage, Maya forced Taemin onto the steel stool and opened the first aid case. She cut away the torn edge of his shirt and pressed clean gauze to his side. Her fingers shook once. Taemin looked down at them. "Poor lighting?" Maya tightened the bandage until he winced. "Poor patient." His mouth almost curved. Then he said, "Who is Blackbird?" The warmth disappeared immediately. Daniel checked the access history on the portable security console. The internal gate had opened using Jason's credentials, not copied credentials. His active code. Jason swore he had never touched the panel. Daniel stepped closer. Taemin lifted one hand, stopping him before accusation became violence. Maya watched all 3 men and realized something worse. Jason looked terrified, but not of Taemin. He kept glancing toward the dead monitor in the corner. The monitor flickered on by itself. "Before the next truth lands, tell us where you are watching from, what time it is there, and which person in this garage you trust least." Jason's eyes fixed on the screen. Maya saw his jaw tighten before the image fully appeared. Whoever controlled the feed knew exactly where to aim the fear. They were not just watching the garage, they were watching the people inside it. Marcus Vale appeared on the screen from a dark control room, his face lit by a single cold monitor. He greeted Maya by her full name, then called Taemin, the evening's most expensive parcel. Marcus explained that the assassins had not been sent to kill Taemin quickly. They were there to exhaust Maya, isolate her, and force Blackbird to reveal whether she had survived. Taemin was bait. Maya was confirmation. Marcus offered Maya a simple exchange. Deliver Han Taemin alive, and the doors would open for everyone else. Taemin turned his head toward her, watching for hesitation. Maya did hesitate, but not because she was considering the deal. Marcus had said everyone else, not Victoria. You always did enjoy leaving one name off the list, Maya said. Marcus smiled as though she had finally asked the right question. Taemin asked what Marcus meant by Blackbird. Maya kept her eyes on the monitor. She admitted that she had once extracted people from places designed to keep them trapped. Marcus had destroyed her unit and buried the evidence. She did not mention Victoria, not yet. Taemin looked toward the sealed shutters and then back at Maya. So the Mechanic Act was camouflage, Maya answered. No, I really do hate badly maintained cars. Daniel traced the false route that had brought Taemin's sedan toward Nathan's garage. Every transfer led back to Jason. Daniel seized him by the front of his suit and demanded the truth. Jason admitted he had leaked the route, but Taemin ordered Daniel to release him. The room went still. Taemin revealed that the leak had been authorized. Jason was supposed to feed a controlled destination to 6 surveillance men and expose a traitor inside the Han organization. The meeting point had been an abandoned warehouse across the river. Someone changed it to Nathan's garage and replaced 6 watchers with 39 assassins. Maya stared at Taemin. So this is your ambush. His expression did not move. It was supposed to be smaller. Maya looked around at the sealed cage, the wounded workers and the failing lights. That is a lovely sentence for the insurance report. Jason finally broke. Marcus had discovered the false leak and taken his wife and daughter before the convoy moved. A live feed had been sent to his private phone. Each time Jason refused an instruction, the camera moved closer to them. He had opened the internal gate because Marcus ordered him to choose between Taemin's life and theirs. Daniel's anger remained, but certainty left it. Taemin looked more wounded by the explanation than by the cut in his side. Jason turned the dead monitor toward himself, but the screen remained black. He whispered that Marcus would contact him again soon. Maya asked how much access his code still carried. Jason answered, enough to ruin what is left. Taemin removed Jason's earpiece and crushed it beneath his shoe. Then he speaks through us now. Maya glanced at the broken device. Bold strategy, very dramatic, terrible for resale value. A warning light flashed over the paint bay. Maya saw movement behind the clear curtains and knew the next group had breached the corridor. She sent Daniel to the manual partition and ordered Taemin to remain seated. He stood anyway. Maya gave him one look. You are bleeding through imported wool. Taemin adjusted his jacket. You noticed the wool? I noticed the invoice Nathan will send if you collapse on his floor. The attackers entered the paint bay together. Maya triggered the fire suppression system. White foam blasted from the ceiling nozzles, covered the floor, and swallowed their sight lines. Hydraulic lifts rose between them while rolling tool cabinets locked across the corridor. One man tried to force a dramatic charge and slipped into a spinning cleaning brush. The danger stayed real, but criminal dignity did not survive the first 10 seconds. Marcus returned to the speakers and began a slow speech about predators, loyalty, and inevitable death. Maya opened the public address channel over him. Your monologue is delaying 3 repairs and a tire rotation. The workers inside the cage laughed before fear could stop them. Marcus lost his rhythm. Taemin looked at Maya as though he had discovered a weapon more dangerous than the garage systems. She could make frightened people breathe again. Taemin laughed once, quiet and unexpected. Maya turned toward him, startled by the sound. For a moment, the garage no longer felt like a coffin. Then his face tightened as the bandage darkened beneath his hand. Maya crossed back to him and pressed fresh gauze against the wound. Their eyes met at close range. Taemin said, "You are afraid." Maya answered, "Of the cleaning bill." Neither of them believed her. Daniel found an old bronze insignia inside a sealed compartment in the inspection bay. Maya recognized it immediately as the mark of her destroyed extraction unit. Nathan recognized it too. He tried to hide the reaction, but this time Taemin was watching him. Maya stepped between Nathan and the concealed hatch beneath the inspection pit. "You knew that symbol before I explained it." Nathan looked toward the workers, then back at her. "Get everyone safe first." Nathan pulled the ring of workshop keys from his belt, selected one Maya had never seen, and fitted it into a narrow lock beneath the inspection platform. A section of steel floor released with a deep mechanical click. Cool air rose from darkness below. Maya looked at Nathan as if the opening had split 18 months of trust in half. "You built a secret room under my workplace?" Nathan answered. "I built the workplace over the secret room." The ladder descended into a concealed command room filled with old radios, blank monitors, medical cases, and sealed files. Nothing looked abandoned. Batteries were charged. Dust had been cleared from the console. Maya crossed to the steel table and found a damaged recording device placed carefully at its center. Taemin remained near the ladder, one hand against his injury, watching Nathan with the stillness he usually reserved for enemies. Nathan admitted he had once coordinated Maya's extraction unit from a remote command post. He had known her before the garage, before the coveralls, and before she learned to answer grief with sarcasm. Maya asked why he never told her. Nathan's eyes moved toward the recording device. "Because your sister made me promise." The room seemed to contract around Maya. For 3 years, Nathan had allowed her to believe Victoria was dead. Maya picked up the damaged recorder, but her thumb would not press the control. Taemin stepped closer without touching her. "You do not have to hear it now." Maya looked at him with tears she refused to release. "There are 39 assassins upstairs. Your employee sold us twice, and my dead sister left a message in my basement. This is probably the calm part." Then she activated the recording. Victoria's voice emerged through static, older and weaker than Maya remembered. She instructed Nathan to keep Maya close to the garage and never reveal the truth until Marcus came looking for her. The location had been chosen because a forgotten maintenance tunnel passed beneath it. Victoria warned that the trap would fail unless 3 people entered the same building. She named Maya. She named Marcus. The recording broke apart before the third name. Maya slammed her palm onto the steel table hard enough to rattle the medical cases. She did not strike Nathan. That restraint frightened him more. "You watched me bury her every day." Nathan accepted the words without defending himself. He said Victoria believed early disclosure would expose Maya and destroy the only chance to identify the person who ordered the cleanup. Maya asked whether Victoria was alive. Nathan answered with the truth he hated most. "I never knew." Taemin examined the building plans while Maya stood with her back to everyone. The maintenance tunnel connected the hidden room to an independent power chamber beyond the main garage systems. Restoring it could reopen the shutters and cut Marcus out of the controls. Daniel volunteered to go. Maya refused. Daniel was needed with the workers, and Jason was still the only person who understood the compromised access codes. Taemin said he would accompany her. Maya replied, "You can barely accompany yourself." Taemin followed her into the tunnel anyway. The passage was narrow, damp, and broken by long stretches of darkness. Maya carried a portable lamp in one hand and kept the other near the wall. Taemin asked whether she insulted everyone she rescued. "Only the difficult ones." "How many difficult ones survived?" Maya glanced back at him. "Enough to complain about the service." His smile appeared briefly, then vanished when a sound moved inside the next alcove. The attacker came from the darkness behind Taemin. Maya saw the movement reflected in a wet pipe and turned, but Taemin reached her first. He pulled her against the wall and drove his shoulder into the attacker's path. The 3 bodies struck the narrow passage in a violent tangle. Maya activated the lamp's emergency flare, flooding the tunnel with hard white light. The attacker recoiled, and Taemin forced him behind a service gate that Maya locked remotely. During the struggle, Taemin's right palm tore across an exposed metal edge. Blood ran over an old diagonal scar before he closed his hand. Maya caught his wrist and opened his fingers again. The scar crossed the exact place she remembered from a blurred image inside her final operation. Her pulse climbed into her throat. Taemin pulled free too quickly. "Old injury." Maya looked toward the power chamber. "Old injuries usually come with old lies." Taemin said nothing as they continued. Maya could feel the question walking beside them. 3 years earlier, she had seen a masked commander behind reinforced glass while her unit was trapped below. She remembered only fragments, a black sleeve, a hand against the console, and a pale scar crossing the palm. She had never known whether that hand sealed the doors or tried to open them. Now Taemin carried the same mark. They reached the power chamber and found the manual lever chained in place. Maya cut the chain with a hydraulic tool stored beside the battery racks. Taemin steadied the casing while she worked, their shoulders pressed together in the narrow space. The building shook above them. Dust fell from the conduit trays. Maya asked whether his mother knew about the false leak operation. Taemin answered, "She knows everything I failed to hide." Maya replied, "Comforting family tradition." Maya pulled the manual lever. Power returned in sections, first the emergency lamps, then the ventilation fans, then a row of hydraulic controls. The garage speakers screamed with feedback. Marcus's voice cut through, stripped of its earlier amusement. He ordered every remaining team toward the power chamber. Maya checked the tunnel camera and saw movement approaching from both directions. Taemin looked at the single door. "Can you hold this room?" Maya answered. "No, but I can make them regret entering it." She overloaded the chamber lights and opened a maintenance valve, filling the corridor with steam. Then she and Taemin retreated through the service door as attackers reached the tunnel. A second blast shook the floor. Taemin stumbled, and Maya caught him beneath one arm before he struck the wall. His wound had reopened. The nearest route back to Daniel was blocked, leaving only the central pillar bay. Maya knew exactly how exposed that space would be. They emerged into the central garage beneath one surviving sodium lamp. Taemin made it 3 steps before his strength failed. Maya lowered him against the concrete pillar and turned toward the upper ramp. The steel wrench still lay in the open where an attacker had deliberately placed it. A red targeting light slid across Maya's chest and settled over Taemin's heart. The speaker repeated the words the audience had already heard. The mechanic should not be standing. Taemin asked whether she would use the wrench. Maya saw the faint targeting reflection on its polished head and understood the trap. Reaching for it would place her body in the clear and draw the shot through Taemin. Tonight, the wrench is decorative. She kicked it beneath the sedan. The red point followed. Maya struck the restored control panel, and every functioning vehicle alarm in the garage erupted at once as Daniel advanced through the opposite corridor. Daniel reached the pillar bay through the service corridor just as the alarms peaked. Maya used the noise to cycle the remaining shutters, dividing the attackers into isolated sections while Daniel drove them away from the workers. Nathan reported that the parts cage was secure and every civilian was still breathing. Jason remained at the manual controls, holding one damaged barrier closed while Marcus threatened his family through an emergency channel. His voice kept breaking over the radio, but his hands never left the lever. For the first time all night, the visible assault began to collapse. Maya restored the main exit circuit. The segmented vehicle door lifted slowly, dragging cold dawn light across the floor. Smoke rolled beneath it and mixed with the steam still escaping from the tunnel. Taemin told Maya to leave before Marcus regrouped. She looked toward Nathan, Daniel, and the corridor where Jason was still fighting the controls. "I do not abandon people halfway through a repair," Taemin answered. "I am not a car." Maya checked his bandage and found fresh blood beneath her fingers. "That remains under review." A figure appeared beyond the rising door. Maya forgot the alarms, the blood, and the 39 attackers. Victoria Bennett stepped through the smoke wearing Marcus Vale's insignia. She looked older, sharper, and painfully alive, with the same eyes Maya had carried through every sleepless night. Maya tried to say her name, but nothing came out. Marcus ordered Victoria through her earpiece to make Maya surrender. Victoria removed the device, dropped it onto the wet concrete, and crushed it beneath her boot without looking away from her sister. Maya moved one step forward. Victoria raised a hand, stopping her before they touched. The distance between them was less than 10 feet and felt wider than 3 years. "Marcus did not destroy our unit," she said. "He was paid to clean up what remained." Taemin's expression changed at the word paid. Nathan looked toward the blank monitors as every screen in the garage activated at once. Victoria turned toward them. "You wanted the third person," she told Maya. "He has been here all night." Classified footage filled the screens. A masked commander stood behind reinforced glass while Maya's unit struggled below, smoke thickening around the sealed doors. Victoria froze the image on one hand pressed against the control console. A pale diagonal scar crossed the center of the palm. Maya turned slowly toward Taemin. His injured right hand was already closing into a fist. The old wound matched the screen exactly, down to the broken line near the thumb. Relief died so quickly it felt like another explosion. Victoria faced Maya without lowering her hand. "You spent 3 years searching for the man who left us inside that building." Her eyes shifted toward Taemin. "He has been sitting behind you all night." Maya lifted a recovered weapon and aimed at his chest. Daniel moved, but Taemin stopped him with one raised hand. He did not deny recognizing the footage or the room behind the glass. He only said, "I thought you were both dead." The grief in his voice made the accusation harder, not easier to believe. The garage shook before Maya could demand more. Dust dropped from the ceiling and every exit slammed closed again. Jason's voice burst through the radio. Explosives had activated beneath the foundations. The override was not coming from Marcus's equipment. It was using a Han family command channel above Taemin's authority, one Daniel believed only 2 people could access. A countdown appeared across the blank security panels, its warning light pulsing faster with every second. The floor beneath the pillar vibrated like an engine about to tear itself apart. The central monitor switched to a live camera inside the Han residence. Madame Han Suyeon sat calmly in an oxblood chair, untouched by the panic below, one hand resting beside a dark jade ornament. She addressed Maya by name. "If you want your sister to leave that garage alive, kill my son before the clock reaches 0. Taemin stared at the screen with genuine shock. Victoria revealed that Madame Han had financed Marcus's cleanup operation from the beginning and had spent 3 years hunting every surviving witness. Marcus appeared in a smaller monitor window beside Madame Han. The theatrical confidence was gone, replaced by the tight expression of a servant who had realized he was also disposable. He admitted Taemin had been kept alive so Maya could be forced to execute him while the final witnesses died together. Maya looked at Victoria. Victoria looked at the explosives indicator. Nathan whispered that the blast would collapse the garage and the commercial floors above it, killing people who had never heard any of their names. Madame Han's voice remained calm. "One life for many. Choose correctly." The countdown dropped below 30 seconds. Daniel searched for a manual release. Nathan tore open the control housing with a steel bar. Jason shouted that he could delay one charge, but not the chain beneath the pillars. Victoria begged Maya not to trust Taemin, reminding her of everyone they had lost. Taemin stepped closer to the weapon instead of away from it. Maya's hands trembled harder. The man she had protected all night might have been the man who destroyed her life, and the sister she mourned was asking her to believe it. Taemin placed his own hand over Maya's and guided the weapon against the center of his chest. His scarred palm covered her fingers, warm blood touching the grease on her skin. "If my death opens the doors, do it." Maya searched his face for fear and found guilt instead. "Did you seal that building?" Taemin looked toward the frozen footage. "No." The countdown reached 18. "Then why were you there?" He answered, "To stop my mother." Even Victoria lost her breath. Victoria reacted as if Taemin had struck her. She insisted he was lying, but Nathan stared at the footage and noticed something the others had missed. The masked commander's scarred hand was pressing the emergency release, not the lock control. A second, gloved hand entered the frame and forced the switch back. Taemin had been trying to open the doors. Maya looked toward Madame Han's live feed. For the first time, the matriarch's perfect calm cracked and her fingers tightened around the arm of the chair. Madame Han ordered Marcus to trigger the final charge early. Marcus reached for his controls, suddenly eager to prove he was still useful. Jason shouted through the radio that he had found a half-second delay inside the ignition chain. Maya's gaze moved past Taemin's shoulder toward a small relay box mounted beside the central monitor. The box pulsed in rhythm with the countdown, half hidden by smoke and hanging cable. Taemin saw where she was looking but did not move away from the weapon or warn his mother. 10 seconds remained. Victoria told Maya the relay was protected and one shot could ricochet into Taemin. Daniel warned that missing would trigger the charge instantly. Nathan shouted that the box fed only one section of the chain, but it was the section beneath the central pillar. Maya steadied her breathing. Taemin kept the weapon against his chest and whispered, "Choose." Her eyes moved from Victoria to Taemin, then to the relay reflected in the polished edge of his signet ring. The countdown reached 3. Maya pulled the trigger, the gunshot tore through the garage, and every light died at once. Taemin's body jerked against her as the weapon discharged between them. Victoria screamed Maya's name. Something metallic shattered behind him, followed by a deep mechanical thud beneath the floor and the sudden stopping of the countdown tone. In the darkness, Maya heard Taemin release one broken breath. The screen cut to black before the impact. The relay, or Taemin's chest, could be seen clearly. Comment Part 2 if you need to know where Maya fired.